Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, my group will present about the differences between capacitor and battery. I am Nurul Afifah and I will tell you about the theory and principle first. Capacitors are made up of dielectrically separated conducting surfaces, insulator. When a voltage is applied, charge flows into and is stored by the capacitor. When the capacitor is connected to an external circuit, the stored charge flows from the capacitor into the circuit. It operates on the premise that when an earthed conductor is brought close to it, its capacitance increases appreciably. As a result, a capacitor contains two plates with equal and opposing charges separated by a distance. A battery's function is to store chemical energy and convert it to electrical energy when necessary. When two electrodes made of different metals are immersed in an electrolyte, a potential difference is created. A positive charge accumulates on one electron.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Binti Aman and I will present about the design of battery and capacitor. For the battery part, it has three main components. The two are electrodes and the third one is electrolyte. Electrolyte is a liquid that fills the gap between the two electrodes and it can be made by various of substance, which the substance itself allow the electrolyte able to conduct ions or atoms or molecules within it. Electrodes are divided into two. The first one is cathode and the second one is anode. Cathode consists of manganese dioxide and carbon powder. Carbon powder is to increase the conductivity of the battery. Another electrode is anode, which consists of zinc powder in a gel that contains potassium hydroxide electrolyte. The zinc powder itself provides more surface area for the chemical reaction inside the battery, which it can lower the internal resistance of the cell. The battery also has separator, which is to prevent the connection or the touching of anode electrode and the electrolyte. And the separator also is not chemically react with either the anode or the cathode or the electrolyte. Finally, the battery is wrapped in a material either in aluminium foil or plastic film, which is to protect the battery from leakage. Next, for the basic capacitor design, it has positive plate, dielectric, and negative plate. The negative and positive plate are made by metals, but sometimes it can be made by other conductive materials such as aluminium or tantalum or silver. For the dielectric part, it made by insulated materials such as rubber, glass, ceramic, which is to prevent the flow of current. Each of metal plate is connected to the terminal wire, where it then connect to the rest of the circuit.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syed Danial bin Syed Ibrahim and I will present on the technology development of capacitor and battery. The beginning of capacitor technology is generally attributed to the invention in October 1745 of the Leyden jar by the German Ewald Georg von Claes. As originally constructed, the Leyden jar consisted of a narrow neck jar partially filled with water, with an electrical lead brought through a cork in the neck of the bottle to the water. The next invention of capacitor is a wax impregnated paper dielectric capacitor, which foil electrodes was invented by Fitzgerald in 1876. As wax impregnated paper and foil capacitors are quite bulky, the power supply of these radios normally employed filter chokes, that is inductors, in combination with the rectifier and capacitors to reduce power supply ripple. Lastly, mica dielectric capacitors were invented in 1909 by William Dubilier, with principal application in the area of radio transmission. From the beginning, mica capacitors, typically silver mica, has been highly reliable because mica is an excellent dielectric with outstanding discharge resistance. For the battery, the first invention is the voltaic pile. Italian physicist Alessandro Volta in 1799 created the first electrical battery that could provide continuous electrical current to a circuit. The second invention of battery is the Danial cell. The Danial cell, invented in 1836, used a copper pot filled with copper sulfate solution, which was further immersed in an earthenware container filled with sulfuric acid and a zinc electrode. The third is the lead acid battery. The lead acid battery was the first rechargeable battery, invented in 1859 by French physicist Gaston Planté. The batteries are very low cost and supply high surge currents. The fourth one is the alkaline battery. The modern alkaline battery was invented by Canadian engineer Louis Urey in the 1950s. They are inexpensive and typically non-rechargeable, though they can be made rechargeable by using a specially designed cell. The fourth one is the alkaline battery. The modern alkaline battery was invented by Canadian engineer Louis Urey in the 1950s. They are inexpensive and typically non-rechargeable, though they can be made rechargeable by using a specially designed cell.
Next is the applications of capacitor and battery. The primary application of a capacitor is to store electric energy when it is connected to an electric circuit. And even if it gets disconnected from the electric circuit, it can consume that stored energy and it can work as a temporary battery. Capacitors are used for filtering in power supplies. Since capacitors do not pass DC, they are used for DC blocking and AC coupling. For power line decoupling, capacitors are connected between the DC supply and ground to suppress unwanted voltage spikes that occur on the DC supply voltage due to fast switching. Capacitors are used to bypass an AC voltage around a resistor without affecting the DC resistance. Next, for battery applications, the primary use of batteries is for portable equipment and uninterruptible power supplies, large and small. Batteries are also used in the laboratory to provide large DC currents for relatively short times. Besides that, batteries are also used for grid energy and industry, such as portable energy storage and renewable energy. It is also a consumer electronics and devices such as smartphones, laptops, tablets, and power tools. Lastly, batteries are also used for transportation such as buses, forklifts, and auto bicycles.
Next, the similarity between the battery and capacitor. Even they have different design, both have the similar function, which is able to store electrical energy. They also have a series of resistance, and they are also able to create potential difference. That's all from us about the difference between battery and capacitor. Thank you.